Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk Podcasting and Blogging Tips. I'm joined right now, hopefully soon, by more, but I'm joined right now with JD Goodwin. JD, why don't you introduce yourself and your podcast?
Well, my podcast is the Blue Streak Science Podcast, and a little bit about me. I am an enologist, which that means winologist. Essentially, my job is I work in a winery, and I do the science in wineries. And but I do have a history that goes way back into vascular cell biology, that kind of stuff. And my passion has always been science, and one of my pet peeves is science illiteracy that I get, that you hear all the time, especially in the media. So I decided to start a podcast to make science more approachable to people, to the general public. And so I started Blue Streak Science, and I have three co-hosts, and that's Sophie McManus from Cambridge, England, Ivy Shee from Sydney, Australia, and Kelly Vinyl out of Atlanta, Georgia. And we get together every Tuesday. We talk about the latest science news, and we have another feature that's called the Blue Streak Science A-hole of the week. Although I don't actually say a-hole, so I don't know how Joe feels about language here, but I don't say a-hole, and we do that. We're going to be introducing a game in the next episode. And it's essentially we'll be playing a sound, like a science sound. And so we want to make science fun and approachable, and we have a blast doing it. That's what it is. And it's by the way, it's bluestreakscience.com, and we're also on iTunes and Stitcher.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, JD. As always, I'm Joe Pardo. You can get everything I do at superjoepardo.com. I guess they haven't figured out the lower third here, and I don't have Cam, whatever it's called, installed.
Cam Twist.
Yeah, I don't have that. I think
I have it, and I still haven't figured it out.
I couldn't get it to. I think the one time I tried, it wouldn't launch, so we don't have it lowered. It's just like import lowers. I should just write like superjoepardo.com and just like hold it. Like right there. I mean, you can't even see because this light is whitewashing everything. Let me turn this light off. Oh, is that? Yeah, it looks a little too dark. But at least it's not like whitewashed.
Like see, I turned the overhead light off. That's above me because I would just glow if I did that. So I have a light that's kind of pointing at the wall that I'm right next to. So. But yeah, the Cam Twist thing is I haven't quite figured that out yet, and there's some smart people here on Blab that I need to talk to in greater detail about getting all of that dialed in.
You know, my thing with that was that they hadn't. It's like download version 3.0 recommended for 10.8 to 10.10. But the thing was that 3.0 hadn't been updated in a long time. Oh, they have a 3.1 beta now, but that's for 10.10. And that's great, but now we're on 10.11. Well, 10.10 or higher. I'm sorry, I should have read across the whole description there. That was my bad. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly I don't use Blab often enough to want to spend the time to go make it happen. I guess I just assume that at some point in the near future they're going to just add a lower third and be done with it.
You know, since you mentioned that, there was a Blab several days ago, and Hannah from Blab, who formerly of PodClear, she was on that, and I posed the question in the sidebar about exactly that. About are they going to be introducing something where we can create our lower thirds and effects within Blab itself? And she seemed to, they don't want to reveal too much of their hand at this point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's really revealing too much. I mean, we're literally talking about a fixed text at the bottom of the screen.
I know.
It's not like you're asking, like, what's your plans for world domination and crushing Google Hangouts?
But the thing is, though, is that they really want to roll these things out when they're ready, and they don't want to. And if there are glitches in it, they don't want to suddenly have people going, "Where the hell is it?" And So
yeah, I mean, henceforth the fact that it's still a beta, so
yeah,
we're all technically on a glitch, expected to be on a glitch-filled ride
yes.
while using it. But
But-
with that said, it is pretty solid, and I have seen headway as far as some bugs that I've noticed. Like if you mute everybody,
mhm.
what was it? And somebody comes into the room, it was like I'd go to mute them too, and they would
Hey
be
Joe,
able
I
to.
hate to do this, but
Yeah,
there's
no
an
problem.
important phone call that just came in.
No
I
problem.
hate to do this.
No problem, man.
Okay. Hello. Hey. Oh, I apologize for that. My wife is in transit from the East Coast, so so she's halfway home.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
It was a short phone call though.
Yeah, basically it was just be sure to pick me up at 11 o'clock at the airport. So that's real life intruding on Blab. So
There you go. Hey, it's what happens with this. The chat, the people jumping in, the people that are joining the phone call that you never met, like yourself.
right.
It happens where with Google Hangout, none of that would happen. So if I did like a Facebook event, which I do a regularly recurring Facebook event to invite like 180 people,
Mm-hmm.
every 2 weeks. But if 15 people say they're going to come, sometimes I get 2, sometimes I get 8,
Right.
and then that's it. There's no opportunity for anybody to come in from the outside. I mean, the last one I did I think it was close to 5 hours.
The
I
last
ended up waiting
Blab
till,
or
yeah, on Blab,
yeah.
and we never went that. I mean, the latest we'd go is like midnight, starting around either 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time, and yeah, almost 5 hours is a long time to be talking. But I met some amazing people, and the longer we talked, the more, I guess, it is, the later it got, the less blabs there were for people to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then more, it's like, oh, let's just jump in this one, and then it starts to grow like
It was
organically.
we had a Blab. The official Blue Streak Live is what I'm calling our Blabs, which we have on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. And so the second official Blue Streak Live we had nearly 300 people cycle in 2 hours, because I only let it go 2 hours. We had 300 people cycle through that left thing, and I think it was about 30 something, around 30 something on the right side. People actually in the room at any one time. I was astounded at the response, at the engagement. I have to say that I give most of the credit to the other person who I was kind of interviewing, but kind of co-hosting it with, and his name is Peter Chahalis, or otherwise known as Science Pete, and you will see him in various blabs here. The guy is sharp as a tack, a great science communicator at Stony Brook University, and he just got his PhD on Wednesday.
Wow,
So,
that's awesome.
Isn't that great? And so anyway, he's a real, he's just very engaging and engaged. And so, yeah, we had a lot of people. I was astounded. Now I use a simple, what is it called? It's simple Press, Simple Live Press, I think, by
Simple Life
Hani
Press from
Mora.
Honey. Yeah, yeah. He's a great guy.
God, isn't that guy a dynamo?
I've gotten to hang out with him. He is awesome. Definitely a down to earth person,
Yeah.
and can't say enough nice things about him.
I mean, he's just awesome. He sees a problem and he's like, "Oh man, thanks for telling me that." And then he makes something for it like right away.
Yep. Yeah. No, he is awesome. I mean, for me, I something like that isn't really like useful to me just yet because of the fact that I'm only doing these blabs every 2 weeks,
Mhm.
once every 2 weeks, and I don't. If I was doing it more often, like if I started like making all my podcasting about this, like about blab, then that would be a different, be a different story. I would totally be on top of that.
Mhm.
But if you're doing regular blabs or you're making it a part of your show, like
Yeah.
this show has been a YouTube show because why is it a YouTube show? Because Google Hangout automatically submits to YouTube and it puts it into a playlist and the playlist goes up on my website and
There you go.
it just works. So like for me to download and upload one extra video every 2 weeks is not really a big deal. You know what I
What's
mean?
Yeah, I agree. You have to also be careful about just spreading yourself too thin and making too many responsibilities for yourself, because then the post production becomes a bear. And
Hmm.
so you have, because I'm just one person, and my co-hosts are wonderful, but they're not in the production end of it. They're just the talent. They're just the scientific talent out there, and I don't want them to get, because they have real jobs. They like have a real lab to go to, and they're doing real science on the front lines. So I know it's me, and so it becomes hard when you spread yourself thin and try to be everywhere all the time. It doesn't really work. But I do like what um, the Simple Live Press does, because then it creates a post on my WordPress website,
Hmm.
and all of the comments come with it.
Yep, they go right into your it's comment or not comment. All the chat goes in as comments.
Exactly, they go in as comments, and Google loves lots of comments on
Yep.
posts. And even though some of these comments are like, "Yo, what's up?" Very often, but some of them are quite substantive, and so I get a lot of I had over 100 comments in the blab the other day,
Wow.
and that looks good on a post. I'm
Now
sure it
it
looks.
doesn't do the joined, right?
The what?
Like where it says like Lisa Wicks
Oh,
joined, Coach Ben joined, Michael Croce joined.
I don't think it does. No,
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good because that would just look really weird. You know
it
what I
would
mean?
look
Saying
weird.
like, "Hey, yo," is one thing, but that would be weird having
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't do. I'm pretty sure. I don't recall that. I would have noticed that, and
Right. Right.
no, it just does the comments. And some people do some pretty substantive, especially the questions. And because we're a science type show, we get some fairly pithy questions as well.
Mm.
And I love seeing those in the comments. It just helps. Yeah, it just helps the platform when you can transport it and use that content elsewhere,
Right.
and
Right.
it integrates very nicely. So one of the things I haven't done is I don't have a YouTube presence really at all. I haven't put any real content over there. And do you know about people who've taken blabs and then repurposed them for YouTube? Do you know if anybody's
Uh,
doing that?
I mean, I that's what I do for this show. So
Okay.
I download the video file and then I just go over to YouTube and upload it and put in like let's talk podcasting blogging tips and then the date, and then it loads it right in the automatic playlist I create on YouTube, and then everywhere that I have that playlist on my websites it just puts that to the newest video at the top. So as soon as you hit play, boom, it's the newest video right there.
Excellent. I think that's what I'm going to do, because I think I'm missing out, because as most of us have heard, YouTube is the second largest search engine on the planet.
That's true.
And so the main thing is, what we're trying to do is just to have more, be heard by more people.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I have a show that I do on YouTube, not the Your Dream Platform show, but the Living the Dream show. We post it on YouTube, and we also post it at in iTunes and Stitcher. And the thing is with our YouTube channel, it doesn't get nearly as many views. YouTube is it's like its own beast to break into. Now, with that said, with Birth, I actually go through the time to put like an image and then put the audio file on like underneath the image, and I upload that. Instead of YouTube, I go to Facebook. 100, 200, 300 views per video.
Nice.
So, Facebook is so much easier. Now, I just saw today in Brian Ord posted that Audio Boom now has a player that natively works inside of Facebook. So you could get your content shared and everything. Now, I don't know. I admittedly don't know much about Audio Boom. I know that they're a podcasting type company thing. I know that they were at Podcast Movement, but I admittedly don't know much about what they do or anything like that.
Well, I wrote it down. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, I think it's like another SoundCloud. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. I'm assuming it's kind of similar to SoundCloud, but focused on podcasting. I guess almost like a Stitcher, or probably just like a Stitcher. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know what they have going on, but it might be another way. If it's not hard, unlimited post, max duration 10 minutes. Plus account. Is there any way to just I don't want to have to. Oh, you know what? They might be hosting unlimited posts for a plus account, but a max duration of 1 hour. This almost sounds like Spreaker, if you're familiar with Spreaker.
Right, Spreaker, or there's another one too, Podbean.
Yeah, where it's like it looks like you have to pay unless you're only doing 10-minute audio clips. But yeah, that's maybe not. I'm not as interested now. But
on further review,
yeah. But hey, I love the idea that you can play the audio file right in there, and SoundCloud is not exactly a great friendly company to its users.
No, I've been hearing some pretty ominous things about SoundCloud, and I'm not really impressed yet. So
yeah, I have an account, but it just seems like every time I turn around, they're barring users from having their music files in there because their stuff might be copywritten, and it just
yeah. And I get all my music from Pond5. I pay for this stuff, and I avoid using anything. I even try to avoid using Creative Commons just because I'm not sure where they got it from. So I've heard some not so great things about SoundCloud. I am a big fan of Libsyn, and that's where I host. I think their customer service is terrific. I haven't had a single problem with Libsyn. Just Libsyn in iTunes and Stitcher, and yeah, it's all good. And we're getting great downloads every week. Every week literally is a percentage. We increase every week. The trend is upward, and it's been upward for every episode. So
yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, I mean, I use Blueberry, but Libsyn, Blueberry, they're both great. I actually don't host on Blueberry. I host off my own hosting domain.
Oh, cool. So
because I just do things as cheap as I possibly can and try to keep the cost down for things that don't make money. It's it can get pretty tricky. If you start paying for this and paying for that, the cost starts adding up before you know it.
The way I view it is this has become a hobby of mine, and hobbies cost money. And I could I could have the hobby of golfing, and that would be a lot more expensive. So there are plenty more expensive hobbies than this. But that being said, you can be nickeled and dimed to death.
Definitely.
And so speaking of money, are you monetizing, or do you have a monetizing strategy?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not making like fit money, fist hand over fist or however
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that term is. But I know I'm definitely making money. I mean, this is my full-time gig. I left my family's business to do that, not specifically to do this, but ultimately it ended up about a month and a half. I guess it was about a month after I left the company. I ran into podcasting and just like, oh man, like the stuff I've been doing since 1997, building websites and building building communities and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is a business. I didn't even like it's always like been like that unattainable thing, but it was unattainable because I was so busy entrenched in the family. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was a $20 million a year enterprise, five separate companies. So that was what I was supposed to go and do, even though I'm like, and you can't see it right now, but like I'm really like into DJing and stuff like that. Like that was something that I was doing growing up a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, yeah. So it's like, oh, how do you make money? So there's like so many ways, and that's one of the reasons. While I will be doing courses in my school about monetization, uh, I don't want it to necessarily be the focus
Right.
right out of the gate. I want to focus on building the platform because so many people get wrapped up in this idea, like, oh, if I do a podcast, there'll just be money raining out of the sky. Like
I
these
can
people,
quit
like,
my job.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to quit my job tomorrow because of that. And it's like, well, some of us, have that drive and have that vision and can afford that coaching and that direction that you're going to end up paying for, unless you already have it and have done the research over the course of years before you decide to leave. But most people are not going to be able to just
Yeah.
walk right out and be like, oh, cool, now I make enough money to not just do this all day.
Yeah,
Um,
I've no illusions about Blue Streak Science becoming a business, a big business that rakes in the money. But all that being said, it wouldn't, and I do not monetize yet. But I plan to. But I want to be very measured about it, and I want to explore it very carefully. I don't want to drive away my listeners by doing things that would alienate them, me trying to get money from them. So I want to be very careful about that.
So okay, so here's the thing, right? When it comes to monetization, looking for sponsorships is not my first go-to thing to make
Right.
money. We
I'm
have
shaking my
money
head going.
coming in on living the dream, and that's great. And we'll continue to make money on that. The main reason we have money coming in from that show is because of the fact that's a multi-person team. It's me and Krista, but then Krista under her has like I don't know, I think it's like 18 people that she works with
Wow.
that most of them are unpaid, but it's like so and so does this for the blog, so and so does
Mm-hmm.
this for the images, so and so like she has a person for like each very small little task that she delegates out to these people, and in return they get like comp movie tickets for early releases and all kinds of stuff that she gets. But sponsorships, you have to chase the relationships, you have to foster them, you might have to even chase the money, excuse me, and then you might even have to compromise your content at some point
Mm-hmm.
for that. And it's always a battle of, well, I don't like how you put our logo up on your website. It should be higher up. It should be this. Oh, you used the wrong logo. You used our old logo. Can you update our logo? Can
Mm-hmm.
this blah blah blah? Like it's a constant battle of trying to get it going and keeping that customer happy, right? And if depending on how much money they're giving you, you're going to want to keep them happy.
Yeah.
So there's other ways to go about monetizing, and there's in my opinion, I think that the other ways are much more better. So in your case, you're doing the show, right? So
Mm-hmm.
with the show, you could write a book. Now you have an audience to sell that book to. Is it the same as saying, hey, you know, but, 5-Star Notebooks is sponsoring our show. Buy their notebooks so I can, get a Ferrari or something. To me, it's a little bit better because it's people that trust you. And you're building that trust relationship, and you put out a product, so they're genuinely going to want to buy what you have, in a lot of cases. So there's that. Now, will that bring in a ton of money? No, but here's what it does. Do you have a book? Have you written a book?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so writing a book opens up the doors to speaking events, and that's where you can make a bunch of money. Why? Because you've done the show, and you've written the book, and you've created authority. Is it direct income from your podcast? No, not at all. You don't necessarily need to go that path. Dreamers Podcast will never have a sponsorship. I don't want a sponsorship because it helps open up so many doors for me because of the fact that I'm interviewing dreamers. And while I don't have a psychology degree or any degree at all, because I was, again, family business person, I'm able to go into schools now, and I talk to kids at the schools and assemblies about how to go about living your dream. I have 2 books now. And when you have
become the expert.
Yes, because I've worked my butt off,
yes.
5 days a week on an interview show at 30 minutes to 60 minutes an episode, sometimes an hour and a half per episode. Editing all of that is a lot. And
right. You have become the expert, and people, your audience, trusts you.
Yes.
And that is so key. What you said here about writing the book, because the audience trusts you. You're probably not going to make a mint on the book, but this I never thought about.
Here's how, and the best way to do it, and it never really occurred to me until a good friend of mine wrote his book called The Wisdom of Walt. Shout out to Jeff Barnes, who hustles his butt off every freaking day, and since July, when the book came out, he has sold, I want to say, over 12 to 1,500 copies of his book already. Now, the key to that is he wrote his book as a book that can be pitched to business owners, not just business owners, but really anybody. It's called The Wisdom of Walt. Walt, that Walt, that Walt, and that Walt, and that Walt, and that Walt, and this Walt too. So the key was that with that business ownership type book, he goes in and he'll talk to like Rotary clubs that are all business owners. He'll go in and talk, to all these places, and to have business owners and like, hey, I'll take 50 copies of the book to give to my employees. Yeah. I run, I'm the high end super manager at a hospital with like 150 employees. I'll take 150 copies of the book. And
love it.
Yeah. And it's like, boom. Now all of a sudden he doesn't have to sell, hey, JD, buy my book. Hey, Paul, buy my book. Hey, buy my book. But now he'd be like, boom, JD, boom, 150 sales.
Excellent. I love that. I think that's so great. One of the things that happened recently is somebody suggested that I be on a science panel at a Periscope meeting. Periscope. I don't even do Periscope. And so now I doubt that's going to come through, but just the fact that somebody's even suggesting that, this is a neuroscientist himself is going to be doing this, but the fact that somebody even suggested that makes me go, I see something here, because becoming the expert, getting out there and speaking, getting on panels like that, it has an indirect effect on monetization, but it can help with selling that book. And go ahead.
Let me interject here for a second, though. You said that word. I hate that word because so many people overuse that word. They throw it around like it's some kind of expert. Here's the word that I prefer to call myself, and here's why I think that more people should think about calling themselves this word instead. And that word is professional. Why professional? Because when you're a professional football, baseball, soccer, it doesn't matter. Professional anything, you learn, you train, you work out. you get better.
I agree with you completely.
Boom, like I'm that guy. Like, okay, there are experts in the world. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
There are experts in fields, like there can be the Latin expert. Well, Latin is it's not evolving anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much what it is. So yeah, you can be that expert in Latin, something that's like boom, it's plateaued, and that's it. But
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think
evolving.
professional is far more descriptive of what I was really meaning. Yeah, expert does tend to imply that it's
authority is a pretty good word too, because
Mhm.
that just insinuates that you're, or one of the top experts.
Yeah.
But even still, I would just prefer to call myself a professional,
Yeah.
because it also doesn't sound too cocky.
Yeah, it does sound cocky, doesn't it?
Well,
So, what do you think about Patreon?
I think that if you have it's like one of those things like with social media, right? It's like don't
Mhm.
have that specific social media if you aren't going to use it.
Right.
It's like it's worse to have one and then have nothing on it, or so sparsely update it. If you have the audience and you can, what I would do is if you have the audience for it and are you emailing them regularly?
Actually, no, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, you should be collecting emails.
Right.
But don't hit. One thing I hate, and I'm sure you probably too, is you get to the website and the first thing they do is they smack you over the head, looking for your email address, and it's like, whoa,
Right.
I just got to this website, I don't even know who the hell you are.
Well,
Why are you asking for my email address?
I do actually I do collect emails. I don't actively myself do it, but on the website I have an exit intent pop up. So you know what that is, right?
So as soon as they're going to exit, it pops up and says, "Hey, we have this free gift for you," or something.
Yeah, or just before you go, if you don't ever want to miss an episode of the podcast, a newsletter will come to you with all the latest posts on. It'll get, and you won't get it all the time, and you'll also get the podcast episode emailed to you as well. And so it's an exit intent thing. So people can look around the website all they want. If they're already on the email list, they won't get the exit intent pop up at all.
Really?
Yeah. And they won't get that at all. And so, it doesn't bug you while you're poking around the website. It doesn't. I don't want to come at people. I just want to say, hey, before you leave, if you had a good time here, sign up. If not, we'll see you next time.
So try polling your email list, asking them, what they think, or asking them what kind of rewards would they like to see.
Mm-hmm.
If you did a Patreon, and obviously you have to make the rewards obtainable and doable for you, because and that was always like one of the things with Patreon, right? So they take almost 10% of the money between PayPal and their fees, and it's whatever, because it's found money that you wouldn't be getting otherwise. But at the same time, you don't necessarily want to make the rewards so difficult that they become a second job for you,
right?
So it's important to try to figure out what works best for you and for them. But like I said, with the social media, if you're going to have one, like any specific type, like don't have an Instagram if you're not going to post to it.
Hey, it's Daniel J. Lewis. Hey, Daniel.
You should totally jump in the chat with us and impart some awesome knowledge that he
absolutely
I know he has. But again, do you want to have a Patreon and then have it say $0.00?
Right.
Oh, that's a shame, man. Sorry to hear that.
But I've learned so much from Daniel about podcasting. He's my resource for podcast information, and I will stand on the rooftops and shout out his name and the audacity to podcast and the whole thing. I've learned so much from that. Yeah, so I'm a big fan, Daniel. So
no, he's awesome. He's awesome.
He's like, oh shucks.
And since he won't give you any props, I will.
But Yeah. So in fact, I have several of his videos, and I go back to them because sometimes you drift off a little bit of what you should be doing as far as podcast SEO and things like that. And I will go back to the videos and re-listen and make sure. Oh, it's like, oh man, my titles I need to do some working on the podcast title because this is not really cutting it. And so so I definitely learned tons from this guy. And
So,
he's
I'm sorry. Sorry,
he's
JD.
a very good resource.
Yes, I would agree. As he puts it on Patreon, I've realized that it makes collecting donations much easier than my own PayPal and Stripe plus SSL system, only for about 4% more. I would totally agree. I've used WordPress Smart Donations and Smart Forms, and it's not bad, but it definitely eats up way more of my time to set those things up. If you have it so that you want I've sold stuff through my website using that system, that combo of smart forms and smart donations and stuff like that. I would agree. It's definitely easier. And to go along with that, if you were going to sell something, like I was just had a long conversation with somebody last night about Gumroad. And how easy it is to just create a product and then throw it up on Gumroad, and then you can start selling it. And even if it's a digital product, it'll deliver it straight to them for you for 5% plus 25 cents per transaction. So they give you a nice splash page or a nice selling
landing page. Yeah,
landing page. I was going to go with lead pages, but nice landing page and everything, and to be like, hey, I'm just going to create this product. It's created, put it right up there, and you don't have to go jump through all the hoops getting a WooCommerce set up, and then slowing down your WordPress site because of that. And it's so much easier. And they give you an embed code too, so you can actually embed it right into your website.
Nice.
In a matter of seconds. So for getting started or just testing out a product and seeing if it'll even sell at all, so much easier than trying to set it up yourself with PayPal or any of the other stuff.
I was listening to I'm trying to remember who it was. It was School of Podcasting today.
I love Dave.
Yeah, and so he had a guest on who podcasts and basically he monetized from the get-go, and he went, I believe it was a subscription type deal, and he charges at first it was $10 a month, and he puts out a podcast, I believe an episode once a week. It's on photography, and each episode is kind of like a seminar, and then now it's at $20 a month. And he has about 300 people in this. That's pretty impressive.
Wow.
But I think there are ways of also partially having a partial type subscription where maybe you keep 5 or 10 or 20 episodes, the most recent one's free, but if somebody wants to go into the back catalog, they've got to pay a little bit. Anyway, like I said, I don't monetize at all. I'm just bandying about ideas. But yeah, that's one interesting idea. So, but that's good that you're able to bring in some income with it.
Oh yeah. I mean, from Living the Dream, we make, I think it's $350 a month we're up to now.
Awesome.
And that's just that show. I get royalties from both my books and the talks and consulting, and now with the school coming online, that the school is my first big sale item that I've created. And one of the things I loved about doing that was finding it that I was able to make it different from other schools and other videos, because my videos in the school are all of 30 seconds. but there's a lot of videos, right? So instead of having like this big long, like, how do you do WordPress? Here's a 25-minute video. And it's like, well, that's awesome. But if you're just getting started, you're going to be rewinding it a lot. And good luck when you forget how to do something and you need to like go back and find it. So it's like, I just chunked it out, and then each one's searchable. And the other great thing is, like I was saying before, with writing scripts for my new show, for the school, every piece that I do, like I do like a talking where it's me and just the camera, I have the script, and then I put the transcription right into the website. So that's searchable as well and readable. Except the stuff that's like on screen. All the on screen stuff I don't have a script for, because it didn't make sense. And you would need to see it anyway. You wouldn't want to be viewing the video and then reading and viewing and reading. So
awesome.
Yeah, I ended up with like over 100 videos just to get started with 4 courses. So it was a lot of work, a lot of hustle.
Sure.
But totally worth it.
But anyway, I just wanted to, I do have to go now because it's getting right at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and that's when I turn into a pumpkin or something like that. And but Joe, I just want to thank you for putting on this blab. I learned a lot, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you again very soon.
Yeah, I clicked your follow button, and so I'll add you on Facebook. Is it the same name on Facebook?
Blue Streak Science on Facebook. It's Blue Streak Sci on Twitter.
Well, that's your profile name? Like I found your Facebook page.
Yeah, Blue Streak Science.
Oh, I found you.
There we go.
Oh, we have 2 friends in common.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
So.
Awesome. Yeah. So all right. So I just added you. When you accept that, I'll add you to the recurring Facebook whatchamacallit, the event page. So you'll be constantly added, every 2 weeks.
Excellent.
And you can see
Excellent.
It, and hopefully we get you in another one.
Brilliant. Joe, again, thank you so much. And
it's been fun.
All right. And as I always say at the end of every podcast episode, follow the science.
Yeah, I love that, man.
All right, take care.